Okay, now I've got to live up to that, haven't I? I'm probably got a bit loud. Okay. I want you to think of this person. There's like this parish. It's like a parish church in the middle of nowhere. It's a nice country parish. And new vicar's come along. It's Reverend Richard Tryhard. He's taken over this parish. It's a little bit like the Vicar of Dibley, that kind of nice countryside place. So they've got the women's groups and everything else. And it's coming up to the Summer Fete. Now, he's heard about this Summer Fete. At this Summer Fete, they actually have a raffle for cakes made by people in the church. And some of the ladies there, and some of the men as well probably, were really good at baking. And he's heard about this, and he knew what he wanted. So he goes, on the day of the fete, he goes in there, he goes into the tent, and he looks at the raffle stall, and there it is. Now this is a lemon drizzle cake to die for, okay? I mean, this is one that Anne-Marie would have been proud of. I mean, it's that good. Okay, and he looks at it and he thought, right, that's it, I'm the vicar. I've got first dibs, I'm going to be the one to pray for this. So he says, he's praying, good, I want to win this raffle. And it comes to the end of the day, the raffle comes, and he's standing there, and he doesn't win it. He's thinking, oh, I'm the vicar and I can't even pray and win a raffle. So he's been there another year, and in fact 2 months before the fete this year, he thinks, right, okay, I don't know what the cake's going to be that I want, but I'm going to start praying I'll win a cake. So 2 months before, he actually starts praying. He's saying, God, I really want to win this raffle. I want one of those really nice cakes. And then it comes the day, and now, I'm sorry, I've got to admit, this is one of mine, coffee and walnut cakes sitting on the stand there. And he's thinking, I've got to have that. And he's praying. He says, look, God, I've been praying to you for 2 months. Oh, God, I want this cake. And they draw the raffle. And he doesn't win again. And he's getting really frustrated. So he goes home, and he's in his bedroom, and he's praying. He says, God, what is the point of praying? I'm the vicar. I can't even get you to do anything for me. What's the point of praying? Suddenly this bright light comes in. Through the window comes this vision of Jesus. And he's looking at it and suddenly thinking, he's getting a bit panicky now. He says, without being a bit... He said, I'm sorry, look, I'm so sorry. And Jesus just looks at him and says, shh. Richard, I can hear your prayer. But do me a favour, meet me halfway. Next year, buy a raffle ticket. My theme for today is making your own luck. Now that's what people who are not Christians would call it, making your own luck, or preparing for blessings, however you want to call it if you want to put the Christian zing on it. But Reverend Richard was never going to win the raffle because he'd not done any preparation. He wasn't buying the raffle ticket. God does miracles, but he does work with us as well. But so often we just think prayer is enough. I want God to bless me. I want God to make something really successful. And we think, I'm just going to pray about it, and that's what has to happen. And it doesn't work like that. If you talk to successful people, they actually don't think that lucky things just happen lucky. They make their own luck. Mm-hmm. So the word luck is actually a misnomer in this circumstance. We think of luck, oh, things will just happen, and if you're lucky it'll happen in a good way, if you're unlucky it'll happen in a bad way. They make their own luck. They prepare for success. They prepare for what they want to do to work. They put themselves into positions where good things are going to happen. And the trouble is, some of us times as Christians, we don't bother to put ourselves into positions where we give God room to manoeuvre. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about buying raffle tickets, and I definitely am not talking about buying lotto tickets and lottery tickets to win. But I'm talking about living your life in a way that works. Among Christians, and we use it a lot in this church, there's a favourite verse. If I said Jeremiah 29:11, probably half of you can quote it back to me.
Plans I have for you.
Yeah, plans to prosper you, not to harm you.
That's it. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. And it's great. God's got these great plans for me. The problem is, Some of us take this as God's got great things in store for me. I'm going to rely on that. The trouble is, don't look around the whole verse. You actually don't understand under what circumstances it's written. So I'm actually going to start back at verse 4 and go up to verse 14 of Jeremiah 29. And this is the word of God being given to Jeremiah to share with the people who've been taken. Basically, the children of Israel, their land had been taken over by Babylon. They'd been taken away. They'd been taken to a foreign land. They were actually put into cities which they didn't want to be. They wanted to be back home. And they were pretty fed up, pretty depressed. And this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says to all those I carried into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat what they produce. Marry and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, so that they too may have sons and daughters. Increase in number there, do not decrease. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. Yes, this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says. Do not let the prophets and diviners among you deceive you. Do not listen to the dreams you encourage them to have. They are prophesying lies to you in my name. I have not sent them, declares the Lord. The reason he's saying that is there are people who are doing the religious sounding stuff and say, yes, God's going to bless you. Just wait here, we'll all go back home tomorrow. And God's saying, that's not what I'm saying. This is what the Lord says. When 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will come to you and fulfill my good promises to bring you back to this place. And then comes the verse we all know and love. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and I will bring you back from captivity. I will gather you from all the nations and places where I have banished you, declares the Lord, and I will bring you back to the place from which I carried you into exile. Basically, God's saying, get out there and do it. Get involved. Don't take it easy. God's promise of blessing is not a passive promise. You just do nothing and I'll bless you, says God. If anyone thinks that's what the Bible says, I'll be really encouraged if you can show me where it says that, because that's not what I read whenever I go through the Bible. Blessings always come from the Word of God, and God leads people to places they respond, and God goes with them. People who ignore God tend not to get that much blessing. God's message was not just be lucky, it'll all go nicely. It was, go and make your own luck. Go and pray for this town. Do well in this town. Settle down. Be happy. So, I want to say, if you think your way to get a blessing from God is just to pray about it, and that's all you need to do, sorry, that ain't what the Bible says. So I'm going to look at things we can do to make our own luck, or to move ourselves into a place where God can bless us, where God can work with us and use us. So there are two categories I look at when it comes to that. There are some things which everybody should be doing, and some things which are specific to you or specific to me. So I'm going to start off with the things which the Bible makes really clear is good for everyone to do, to move ourselves into a position where God can work with us. So I always think, if there's anyone in the Bible who knows what to say and it's fairly trustworthy, starting with the words of Jesus is a good start. Yeah? We trust Jesus, yeah? Yeah, we'll go with that. So I'm going to start off with what Jesus says in Matthew 7 verse 12. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. Jesus is saying, be nice to everyone. Now, some people, that's not quite how they work. They basically, I'm just going to push through, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get what I want out of life. And in recent years, I've been doing some studies in business. And up until a few years ago, I was under the impression if you're a businessman, you've got to be a really hard-nosed businessman. You've got to do all the nasty things, make horrible decisions, push everyone who's in your way out of the way, and you'll take over the world and you'll have the world's biggest business. And they've done some research. And somebody came up with a book saying, actually, it's nice people who do well in business. You're actually more likely to succeed. So I went for a quick look on the internet, and I found that, but then I started to find an article which kind of grabbed my eye, but it was called "Why It Pays to Be a Jerk," is the article. And it was like, okay, we've got this argument that says nice people get on better, but let's see if there's a counter-argument. And it was a really long article, and it started to sound as if we'd actually got to the point where it's like jerks or rotten people actually do well. But as you came to the end of the article, it was actually turning around and saying, actually, it doesn't stand up. And he quotes someone and says, he believes that the most effective people are disagreeable givers. You don't have to be nice, but you have to do things that are good for people. That is, people willing to use thorny behaviour to further the well-being and success of others. He points out that some of the corporate cultures we consider most cutthroat likely are filled not with jerks, but with disagreeable givers. People who don't automatically be nice, they just look after other people. Take General Electric, once famed for its rank and yank policy of jettisoning the bottom 10% of performers each year. If you were among the 10% that did worst in that company, you were going to get sacked at the end of the year. They were bringing people to replace you. And you would have thought, on the face, GE might be a place where you expect takers to rise. Those are after themselves. That's where they do best. But it seems more complicated than that, Grant says. The people are really tough there in the sense that they're going to challenge you to grow and develop. They're going to set higher goals for you than you will set for yourself. But they're doing it to make you better, and they're doing it with your best interests and the company's best interests in mind. This company, which sounds so counter to the words of Jesus, do to others as you would have them do to you, is actually saying that when people actually start doing good things for others, trying to build other people up, trying to give them a goal that they can achieve that's more than they would automatically set themselves positive things to aim for, and you're helping other people, you do better as a person. You're helping other people, but you're doing better. Doesn't that kind of line up a bit with what Jesus said? Do to others as you would have them do to you. The world seems to think it's a cutthroat industry. Let's go kill everyone. Let's do whatever we need to do to get where we want. But actually, it's proven wrong. When you look at it in real life, thank you, those who are actually caring about others and wanting the best actually survive, do the best. And just been proved by my colleague over there. Thank you, David. He's not going to now listen to my croaky voice. He's going to actually listen to my sweet, nice, natural voice. Sorry, did someone giggle over there? I don't know why you would giggle like that. It seems they've got it right when they go for pushing for the best for others. Jesus got it right. And if you look in Jeremiah 29 chapter again, verse 7 actually says something quite interesting. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. How many of us have been in a situation where we just don't like where we are? And we don't work, and we don't think, let's do the best for everyone else. We just think, I'm just going to do enough to survive. I'm just going to kill my time here until I can get out as soon as possible. You can't blame the children of Israel for wanting that. They hated the people. They were attacked by another nation. They were taken out of the land, put into a city where they didn't want to be. They wanted to be in Jerusalem. They wanted to be in Israel. And they're here. And God actually says to them, don't go for revenge. Don't go for getting your own back. The way you're going to get the most out of being here where you are is by praying for and looking for the best, doing good for this place. Because when it prospers, so will you. And wherever you are, if you look for the prosperity of whatever it is you're in, be it the church, be it where you work, be it any clubs you go to, be it a friendship group, be it whatever it is, if you're looking for the best for other people, that will lead to the best for you. That's the blessing that God's promising.
Amen.
That's the blessing you're paying for. You're praying for God. God, I want to be blessed. I want this to happen. God, get me out of here. And maybe God's saying, no, I'm not getting you out of here. I'm leaving you there because I'm going to bless you where you are as you bless other people.
It's true.
How do you make your own luck? Don't push yourself to get away from where you are. Push yourself to do the best and be the best for other people who are around you. It's not a passive blessing. It's an active blessing. It's God's reaction to what you do that makes the difference. What started me off on this thought process was Becky's sermon last week, because he was talking about Esther. And God started to point out to me another guy in the story of Esther called Mordecai. That's Esther's uncle. And basically what happened was, he was walking through the town one day, or he's actually, it says in Esther 1, in chapter 1, verse 5. Now there was in the citadel of Susa a Jew of the tribe of Benjamin named Mordecai, son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, who had been carried into exile from Jerusalem. Hear this, he's gone into exile in Jerusalem. He's not where he wants to be, by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, among those taken captive with Jehoiakim, king of Judah. So he's in a negative place. He's not where he wants to be. But what's he doing? And then it says in Esther chapter 2, during the time Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, became angry and conspired to assassinate King Xerxes. But Mordecai found out about the plot and told Queen Esther, who in turn reported it to the king, giving credit to Mordecai. And when the report was investigated and found to be true, the two officials were impaled on poles. All this was recorded in the book of the annals in the presence of the king. So this guy's not just looking for the good, he's worrying about the law, he's worrying about the government, he's doing what's right and good for those around him. And you're thinking, I don't want to be here. And he was probably thinking, I don't want to be here. But I reckon he'd have heard Jeremiah's message from God, and he'd have thought, I'm just going to go for the best for everyone around me. And he lived it out. And then a major problem came. For those of you here last week, you might remember the story. But effectively, they're trying to kill all the Jewish people. And this guy, Haman, hates Mordecai. And he basically does the best he can. He tells his friends about it, and they say, just make a great big gallows and hang him. And he's thinking, I'm here. I'm here. But Mordecai, by his actions, had made room for God to manoeuvre. He'd given God a foundation to build on. That night, the king could not sleep, so he ordered the book of the Chronicles, the record of his reign, to be brought in and read to him. It was found recorded there that Mordecai had exposed Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's officers who guarded the doorway, who had conspired to assassinate King Xerxes. What honour and recognition has Mordecai received for this, the king asked. Nothing has been done for him, his attendants answered. The king said, who is in the court? Now Haman had just entered the court of the palace to speak to the king about impaling Mordecai on the pole he had set up for him. His attendants answered, Haman is standing in the court. Bring him in, the king ordered. When Haman entered, the king asked him, what should be done for the man the king delights to honour? Now Haman thought to himself, who is there the king would rather honour than me? So he answered the king, for the man the king delights to honour, thinking of himself here, he knows what he wants most in life. Have them bring a royal robe the king has worn, and a horse the king has ridden, one with a royal crest placed on its head. Then let the robe and the horse be entrusted to one of the king's most noble princes. Let them robe the man the king delights to honour and lead him on the horse through the city streets, proclaiming before him, this is what is done for the man the king delights to honour. Go at once, the king commanded Haman. Get the robe and the horse. Do just as you have suggested for Mordecai the Jew, who sits at the king's gate. Do not neglect anything you have recommended.
Amen.
How's that for a bit of a disaster? It's time for panic. But it wouldn't have been there if Mordecai hadn't been doing what God had said. If Mordecai hadn't listened to God saying, pray for, support, do the best for the land where you are, he wouldn't have made a foundation on which God could stand in. It's a blessing. His life was saved by that because he did what God called. I want to ask you, is your life going exactly as you want it? Is your life in the layer of blessing? Are you thinking, I want to be out of here? We've mentioned this a few times before in the past few months, haven't we? If you may remember, we talked about being where God has put you. But if you want to be blessed, be ready to bless others. Be ready to enjoy. Be ready to endure. Go for it and look for the best in everything around you, because God will build you on that. Don't give up doing what is right. That is the core of it. Do what is right for other people, for you. Just because you're not seeing what you want happening doesn't mean God's not going to bless you. It could be you're laying a foundation for the future. What Mordecai did got forgotten about. He just did what was right. He just thought, they're trying to kill the king. That's wrong. I'll get this sorted. No reward. You may be looking at your life and thinking, I'm doing exactly what God tells me. I'm trying to do it right. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. But nothing good is happening to me. Maybe God is laying a foundation with what you're doing for the future. Be thinking what you do now has an effect. Not only in eternity when you make it to heaven, but effect on the rest of your life. So you're laying foundations so God can bless you. Mordecai wasn't lucky. He wasn't just lucky that the king had that dream that night. God was in that dream. God was keeping him awake. God was making it happen. Mordecai was not lucky. He lived a lifestyle that rewarded him. Is your lifestyle likely to reward you? Are you making your luck by doing what God's called you to? But that's like the general thing. Being a good guy, being a nice guy, looking out for others, wanting the best for other people. That's what will give you blessing, yeah. But we've all got different lives. The call to blessing for me is actually running a technology company. Now, there are some people around here who the thought of touching technology whatsoever under any circumstances would be a complete frightening thing in thought. So my blessings, and other people don't like the concept of business and companies. They just want to go and do their own things. Doesn't make them right or me wrong or other way around. God's designed us differently. So God's plan is different for all of us. So therefore, that's where we've actually got to start to think about our future. I was thinking about when Mark and Claire came here. Before they decided they were going to come here and be pastors, and we invited them to come in, they kind of like had an idea that you might do this at some point in the future. Is that fairly clear? Now, did you think it would be a good idea to be a pastor, we're just going to go to church and sit at the back and watch what's happening? No. What did you actually do? Everything. Yeah. Hear that? Everything. So you preached, you cleaned the place, you led the worship. Yeah. You served the house, but you were learning in that, in certain things. Specifically, you did preach before you came here, didn't you? Yeah. Now, if you've never preached before, to come over and become the pastor of a church with no experience of preaching, is that going to work? If God has got a blessing and a calling on your life, it ain't going to work if you do nothing about it. So Abraham had to do some stuff. If you read about Abraham in the Bible, the Lord had said to Abraham, this is in Genesis 12, 1-5, go from your country, your people and your father's household to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation and I will bless you. I will make your name great and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. So Abraham went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran. And they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. And something really spoke to me about this. There were 3 things that Abraham did that were very specific. First one might sound simple, but is it? Abraham listened to God. Listening to God doesn't happen accidentally. Listening to God comes from a conversation with God. Comes from some time with God. God wasn't going to speak to someone who was ignoring him. How much time do you spend speaking with God? Do you want to hear from God? Do you want to hear where he wants to take you to a position of blessing, to a position of what he wants you to be? But after that, Abraham did some preparation. Now, it doesn't say in those verses we read that Abraham prepared by doing this, that and the other. But let me put it like this. If you're going to take all your family, all your belongings, you're going to take your wife, your nephew, and all the people you've acquired, that doesn't basically mean one morning you get up and think, okay, we're off today, follow me. It ain't going to work like that. What works is going to the people and talking to them and saying, this is what God said to me, we're getting ready to move, this is what we've got to do, preparing the people, getting with them. Has God spoken to you about something for your future? For a blessing, somewhere he wants to take you? Here's the question, what are you doing about it? Are you preparing? You don't prepare, it's either going to be a disaster or it ain't going to happen. Mark and Claire had never done any of the preparation after God called them to lead the church. Hadn't worked out how to preach. Hadn't done any pastoral work caring for people. Hadn't done anything with the band for worship. I don't think they'd have been as successful as they are. Things would have been more difficult. Doors wouldn't have opened. Because when we'd interviewed them, it would have been pretty clear that they hadn't the idea how to preach if they couldn't. It wouldn't have worked. The third thing that Abraham did was he actually got off his bum and did it. He actually got off his bum and did it. He set out. All the preparation in the world is useless. You don't then do anything with it. Let me put it like this. I like cooking. Now, if I go out and I buy some really nice juicy meat, I chop it up, I get the vegetables, prepare the vegetables, get them all put together. If I've got that far, and I leave it on the side, that's the preparation. Preparing the meat, preparing the vegetable, preparing everything that's going to go into it. If I then just put it back in the fridge and go and sit down and watch Strictly Come Dancing, which I want to do, I have to admit, I haven't done any food. I've just prepared it. Just because God said to you, this is where I want to take you, and you prepare, you've still got to step out and do what he's calling you to. God can't take you to the place he wants to take you, to bless you, to make you useful, until you actually do it. Until the children of Israel actually started praying for the people around them, started actually trying to marry, trying to be successful, build successful businesses. God wasn't going to bless them. And that's the case with you and me. If we just sit at home and we just talk about it, prepare for it, and don't do anything, we're never going to hit the blessing. But once I've prepared it, I put it in the pot, I'll mix it, I turn the heat up. A few hours later, it's going to be something worth waiting for. Just because I start cooking doesn't mean it's ready immediately. Just because you start doing what God's called you to do doesn't mean it's all going to go right and perfect immediately. There's a process. You've got to move with the process. Move with the process of God. Because God's going to take you and move you into a new place, maybe. God's going to make what he's led the vision to you for to happen. You can't just rely on nothing. You've got to rely on God working with you and the process. It's not instant. I don't read in the Bible instant blessings. I don't read that Abraham was told by God, you're going to be a father of many nations and you're going to take over the land of Canaan, and basically Captain Spock coming up and pressing the transporter button, he suddenly landed in the middle of Canaan and had all his family there with him and a son. He went through a process. He had to move. What's the process you need to be ready to work on with God? Do you want to make your own luck with God? Or do you want to just pray about it and hope it will happen sometime? In conclusion, I want to say today, I've called the title Making Your Own Luck, but it's not about luck. It's about process, it's about going with God, working with God, building foundations. We've talked over the past few months about times when things go wrong in our lives and things look as disastrous. There's seasons, there's times you go through, there's periods you're going to go through. But don't forget the basic concepts. Just a few points I'm just going to finish with. Don't assume we can passively sit back and expect God to bless us. Do to others as you would have them do to you. It's a great concept. Pray for and look to bless even your enemies, as that's going to bless you more than it's going to bless them, I promise you. Do what Mordecai did, obey the law of the land even. Just because you're a Christian doesn't make you above the law. Ask yourself the question, is my lifestyle building me for rewards in the future? Is my lifestyle building blessings and foundations in my life? Spend some time with God, listening to Him, speaking. And when God does speak to you, do some preparation. Get ready for it, for where God's taking you. When God says go, get going. Be ready to work through the process, because it ain't going to be instant. Let's pray. Lord, we know you want to bless us. Lord, we thank you, you are the loving and caring God. You know the plans you have for us. Plans not to harm us, but plans to give us a hope and a future, to prosper us. And Lord, I pray for that, for everybody here this evening, that you will work with us. You will remind us and help us to make the decisions to live the lifestyle that lives up to your standards, that blesses those around us. Lord, that you speak to us, you direct us, and Lord, help us to prepare and get moving and go where you call us. Because Lord, we want to move into a time of blessing. We don't want to make our own luck. We want to build a foundation for blessing. And that's what we want to do, Lord. Help us to build our foundations for blessing.